All right, everybody. I'm Logan Alec. I'm a CPA, and this is my update for Saturday, January 23rd. It is Saturday. Not a whole lot of news today on the stimulus front, but we are hearing more opposition from Republican senators to Biden's stimulus plan. Tomorrow, Larry Kudlow's replacement, Brian Deese, is expected to brief the bipartisan group of senators that laid a lot of the framework for the December stimulus bill. This is the group with Joe Manchin, Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney, and others. So tomorrow, White House economic advisor Brian Deese is scheduled to brief this group of senators on a Zoom call about Biden's stimulus plan. However, as of yesterday, Republican leaders in the Senate, as well as Republican lawmakers in that bipartisan group, have said that they have not been formally briefed on Biden's stimulus plan, but hopefully that will happen tomorrow. Republican Senator Rob Portman of Ohio said, "I have not personally heard from the White House, and I'm disappointed in that. Not about me, but about, it's one thing to talk about outreach, another thing to do it. It's much more successful around here if you try to get the bipartisanship at the start so that it's a foundation of trust." So some Republicans are kind of peeved because in the days after the election and even on Inauguration Day, Biden has been preaching, unity, unity, unity. He says he wants to work with Republicans, bipartisan basis and all that. But then Biden released this whopping $1.9 trillion stimulus plan kind of out of the blue, at least from the perspective of many Republicans. So they're kind of feeling like the whole bipartisan spiel and pitch was all talk. So already it's looking like the White House and the now minority GOP Senate Republicans, and they're already off to a kind of a bumpy start. Republican Senator Mitt Romney, who is another member of that bipartisan group, remember earlier this week he said that the Biden proposal is not well timed right now. Romney also said this week, "I look forward to hearing their views," speaking of the Democrats' views. "My own thought is that we should only be spending money where there is need that needs to be met. And so I'd like to see the figures and calculations behind the proposal. I think there's a recognition on both sides of the aisle that where there's need, we in Congress have a responsibility to help meet that, but we don't want to be borrowing money that's not absolutely necessary." Republican Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri said that while he thinks the Biden package as a whole is a non-starter, there are plenty of starters within it, meaning that Republicans could very well agree to some aspects of the proposal. Meanwhile, Biden's press secretary Jen Psaki continues to insist that Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus plan is in fact a bipartisan proposal. She said, "Is unemployment insurance only an issue that Democrats in the country want? Do only Democrats want their kids to go back to school? Do only Democrats want vaccines to be distributed across the country?" He, speaking of Biden, feels that the package is designed for bipartisan support. Now wait just a minute here. The things that Ms. Psaki mentioned, unemployment, getting kids back to school, vaccine distribution, that's not necessarily what Republicans are balking at. Republicans are balking at things like, say, raising the minimum wage, stuff like that, not super directly related to COVID. Psaki claimed that Biden himself will be personally involved in drumming up bipartisan support for his plan, figuratively rolling up his sleeves and making phone calls himself to Republican senators. Psaki, however, refused to rule out the possibility that Biden could seek to move forward on some aspects of his proposal via the reconciliation process in Congress, which would only need a simple majority in the Senate, not 60-vote cloture. But of course, they couldn't do everything that way, as we've discussed before. Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is quite progressive, as you know, wants to play a little more hardball with Republicans. She said it's important that Democrats deliver for America. If the best path to do that is to do it in a way that can bring Republicans along, I'm all in favor of that. But if Republicans want to cut back to the point that we're not delivering what needs to be done, then we need to be prepared to fight them. Our job is to deliver for the American people. All right, everybody, so it sounds like more partisan bickering is kind of rustling up after the inauguration. All this sounds a little similar to the tone in D.C. last year after the CARES Act was passed, but obviously Republicans have less power now. Do they matter as much? How bipartisan does Biden actually want to be when push comes to shove? We'll have to see. At this point, we're only about three and a half days into the Biden administration, so there's a long road ahead. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.